How can a next-generation FDI strategy power Vietnam's industrial transformation? Foreign direct investment, or FDI, has long been a cornerstone of Vietnam's industrial growth. But as global economic conditions shift and production models evolve, the country is now pursuing what policymakers call a next-generation FDI strategy, one designed not just to attract capital, but to fundamentally upgrade the quality, resilience, and competitiveness of its industrial base. To understand why this shift matters, it is first necessary to look at Vietnam's current industrial landscape. Industry has consistently played a foundational role in Vietnam's socio-economic development. The country has set a clear long-term goal. By 2030, Vietnam aims to become a developing economy with a modern industrial base and upper middle income status. Achieving this requires an industrial sector that is efficient, sustainable, environmentally responsible, and capable of moving up the global value chain. Despite facing an unfavorable global environment in recent years, including economic slowdowns and heightened uncertainty, Vietnam's industrial sector has maintained relatively strong growth momentum. During the 2021 to 2025 period, the economy is estimated to have grown at an average rate of around 6.1% per year. Industry and construction expanded by roughly 6.4% annually, while manufacturing alone grew by about 7.4% per year. Industrial value added and production index rose steadily, making industry a major contributor to overall economic growth. Importantly, the structure of industrial production has also shifted in a more positive direction. Vietnam has gradually reduced its reliance on resource extraction and labor-intensive activities, while increasing the share of manufacturing, particularly in sectors with higher technological content. At the same time, large investments in power generation and transmission infrastructure, especially renewable energy, have helped secure electricity supply for production, business operations, and domestic consumption. By 2025, industry and construction accounted for nearly 38% of Vietnam's economic structure, up from about 37% in 2020. Merchandise exports reached an estimated $475 billion, with processed and manufactured goods representing almost 89% of total export value. Products such as electronics, textiles, footwear, and wood furniture have established strong positions in global markets, placing Vietnam among the world's top 20 to 25 exporting economies. However, beneath these achievements lie several structural challenges. Exports remain heavily dependent on foreign invested enterprises, which contribute roughly 70 to 75% of total export value. Supporting industries have developed slowly, and domestic firms continue to rely heavily on imported materials and components. In fact, production inputs account for more than 80% of total imports. This dependence limits value added and exposes the economy to external shocks. Looking ahead to 2030, the global economy is expected to recover only gradually and remains vulnerable to risks. Meanwhile, major trends, the fourth industrial revolution, digital transformation, green and energy transitions, and restructuring of global supply chains are reshaping industrial production worldwide. In this context, Vietnam can no longer rely on an FDI model focused primarily on scale and cost advantages. According to the Vietnam Institute of Industrial and Trade Policy and Strategy, the next phase of FDI attraction must prioritize quality, efficiency, and linkages. This next-generation FDI strategy aims to attract investment with advanced technologies, high environmental standards, and modern corporate governance. The focus is on high-tech industries, supporting industries, and high-value-added segments within global production chains, areas that can generate stronger spillover effects for the domestic economy. Crucially, FDI attraction is no longer viewed as an end in itself. New policies emphasize technology transfer, higher localization rates, and stronger linkages between foreign invested firms and domestic enterprises. These linkages are essential for reducing dependence on foreign capital while strengthening Vietnam's industrial autonomy and competitiveness. To turn this vision into reality, several strategic directions have been identified. First, Vietnam is continuing to refine a modern and coherent industrial policy framework that can adapt to rapid global changes. Policy incentives are becoming more selective, with clear priorities given to high-tech industries, emerging sectors, and supporting industries. At the same time, improving the business environment remains critical, particularly through the digitalization of administrative procedures and the enforcement of fair competition. Second, investment promotion efforts are being redesigned to become more proactive and targeted. Rather than attracting investment indiscriminately, Vietnam aims to align FDI inflows with the long-term development strategies of specific industries and regions. The development of large domestic industrial enterprises capable of leading local supply chains is seen as a key foundation for upgrading the entire ecosystem. Human capital development is another central pillar. Training systems must be closely aligned with the real needs of enterprises and new industrial trends. Expanding international cooperation will help Vietnam assess advanced knowledge, technology, and management practices, while strengthening the capacity of policymakers and researchers to design and implement effective industrial policies in an era of deep integration. Innovation also plays a decisive role. Next-generation FDI policies seek to create favorable conditions for research, development, and technology transfer, encouraging firms to pursue digitalization, green production, and energy efficiency. In particular, attracting investment into the domestic production of high-tech materials, new materials, and industrial inputs is critical to reducing import dependence and increasing value added. Finally, expanding export markets, strengthening trade remedies, and proactively participating in global production networks will open new development space for Vietnam's industrial sector. Taken together, this shift marks a fundamental change in how FDI is perceived. No longer just a source of capital, next-generation FDI is becoming a strategic tool for industrial restructuring, upgrading, and long-term sustainable growth, positioning Vietnam for a stronger role in the global economy over the coming decade.